Okay, so welcome to our October staff meeting. We have lots to cover. If you could please sign in the comment section. And also in the comment section, I did post cooler weather brings, which today it was a cooler day outside. So it was a pleasant surprise for those of us who like cooler weather. And then those of us who like that hot, balmy weather were freezing and they were all wearing like winter parkas when they came to work today. So there's two different kind of people here in North Carolina. So we have colder weather brings a grumpy Stephanie. Don't do the cold weather, she says. Which is what I was just saying. There's a bunch of people who don't do the cold weather. Barbie says cool weather brings dresses with boots. Yeah, started wearing those booties. They go with more outfits, I feel like, than flip-flops and sandals. And lovely decorations, of course, says Madison E. Warm coffee, says Cassidy. And Tristan says, my father complaining. Kayla says, cooler weather brings children who need jackets. Yes, that's another endeavor we go through in fall and winter time, making sure those jackets are labeled because they will bring a jacket, which is great. But then you have 15 blue sweatshirts and you don't know whose is whose. So please make sure you take it upon yourself to get masking tape and wrap it around the tag inside the jacket and write their name in permanent marker. So you're not messing up their jacket, but you are labeling it for the family. That way, if they say, have you seen Joey's jacket? It's dark blue sweatshirt, and every boy in your class has a dark blue sweatshirt. You will never find that again, Joey's parents, unless they label it or you guys label it. And please feel free to remind parents, label those jackets or you'll never see them again. They'll get donated to Western North Carolina, who need it probably more than we do. All right, let's get started. Super staff member of the month, Miss Madison Edwards. She already knows she got it, but I wanted to highlight it. She enthusiastically volunteers to help in classrooms with a huge smile on her face. She's always having a positive attitude. She dives into all situations in classrooms. She engages with parents and students and teachers in a respectful and friendly manner. She says good afternoon. She asks their students about their day. And she's being promoted to a Building Bright Futures North Carolina apprentice. So we want to give her a round of applause because she worked really hard for it. And now she is an apprentice. So she can go to school on our dime, which is the way you should do it. No one should go pay for school when they work for us. Next one is Mr. Tristan. Mr. Tristan, he's just a fantastic teacher who's always willing to jump in wherever he's needed. He's infectiously cheerful and friendly demeanor. It spreads everywhere with his silly sense of humor that we all love. He works to ensure his students are well cared for and always supervised, which is extremely important when you're working with school agers and preschoolers. Pursuing a degree in early childhood education, he's growing with hands-on experience and flourishing as a well-rounded educator. So we want to give him a round of applause as well. And we want to thank everybody who works so hard every month. These were our super staff members for September. So come the end of October, we're going to be looking for those individuals who went above and beyond, who are always there for their co-teachers and students and for their families as well. All right. October newsletter put together by Miss Ruby. And we are so glad Miss Ruby is back because I was really slacking. So thanks, Miss Ruby, for coming back to work and not leaving us. This is the newsletter about the trunk or treat. That's a big deal. We have one every year. It's become pretty awesome. We've had over 400 children and their families join us every year. We have bounce houses, petting zoos, pony rides. We have food trucks and vendors and over 30, 40 people giving out candy. We get donations of candy from stores. So if you want to do a trunk and you just don't have the money for all those bags of candy for 400 kids, we will give you those bags of candy. If you are a teacher volunteering, I don't want you to have to spend your own money. Miss Joyce and I try to work very hard to make sure that you guys don't spend your own money ever. So please make sure if you want to volunteer, you want to decorate your trunk and get all crazy and wow with us and get dressed up, do it. And we will give you that candy so you can participate with us. If you don't feel like doing a trunk or a table, just come join us. Come see us on that Saturday. You can just greet parents and see everybody, wear your costume. You can man the bounce houses, which is a big deal. You can help paint faces with our volunteers who are face painting because sometimes they need a break and there's lots of kids who want crazy, ridiculous requests on their faces. I was asked things that I didn't even know existed last year. So I was like, a heart or a pumpkin, kid? I don't know anything else. So we have some talented people this year, and they're going to do a wonderful job. And we have food trucks, of course, the fire truck, police cruiser, and I know I'm forgetting some things, but those are the highlights, and I really hope you come and join us and support the community. It is a free event for everyone who wants to come. We only ask for non-perishable food items for the Chew food drive, which benefits Dixon Elementary and Coastal Elementary students. And we're going to try to do it where we also benefit Western North Carolina, but long story short, I don't think many people are bringing items there anymore. And that's a big issue because we can't get a tractor trailer or a big truck to bring things there, but we can collect all the items. So I got to figure that out. Other dates to remember, we want to make sure that you know Parents Night Out is this Friday. We have Spirit Week coming up at the end of October for Halloween time. And we call it our Fall Spirit Week. We also have a wonderful parade on the day of Halloween. So all of our kids get dressed up in their costumes or favorite storybook characters, no weapons, no slippers, no things that would hinder their everyday activities. And we march around the playgrounds. If you've been with us for over a year now, you know how we do our parade. All the parents and family members and friends, they stand on the outside of the fence. And all of our teachers take their kids. We literally put every adult outside so we can manage this thing. And they walk around the building through the classroom space, out under the playgrounds. Every playground gets hit. And the young toddlers, sometimes they join us in wagons, sometimes they hang out in their playground, and the infants are welcome to go in their playground as well and watch the event. So we kind of walk around that classroom, go through room 5 and 6. So those are the only classrooms we actually go through. But now that we have that new fence set up, maybe we can go on the outside and not have to go through the building. I'll have to figure that out. But long story short, we just go all the way around. One time, we play some spooky fun music. And then if you want to have your parties at that time, you're welcome to do that. Or you can invite families back around snack time and have your Halloween party then. Or not have a party and just give them little bags of whatever from the other students and call it a day. So it is totally up to you as the classroom. But if you do plan on having parties or parents and you're welcoming them into the classroom, please let admin know so we are not taken aback when you have 20 grown-ups showing up for your classroom at 9:30 in the morning. If they're coming for the parade, they go on the exterior of the fence area so they don't have to come into the building for that part. Also, Miss Barbie wants everyone to remember, don't forget, and I forgot to make a slide about this, so don't forget about the pumpkin contest entries. Every classroom should have gotten a nice sized pumpkin from Mr. John. He went shopping and he got everyone a pumpkin. So if you don't have one, please let us know. Then your class, hopefully as much student interaction as you can have, student input, create a pumpkin themed pumpkin. Make sure your classroom number or name is written at the bottom of the pumpkin. We don't want to give away whose pumpkin it is. So you want to put the name of your classroom under the pumpkin so it sits on the table. No one knows it's yours. And everyone votes. Everyone who comes to the trunk or treat votes. All of our parents and students, that Spirit Week, they get to vote. And then we have prizes for first, second, and third place for the classroom. So the first, second, and third place classrooms, they get money towards awesome supplies or things that they have on their wish list. And the parade, I think we do it at 9:30 every year, but I will tell everyone. So you don't have to tell parents yet. I just wanted to make you aware of it so you can kind of prepare your brains. I know people want to know ahead of time what's going on. I think we do 9:30. That way by 10 o'clock, you can have your morning party or you can get right back into your normal routine of things. So I will double check, but I think we do it at 9:30. Great question. All right, notes. These are some things that admin wanted to share with you because we've noticed it over the past month. So please make sure you're paying attention. I know sometimes I say the same old things, but this is a new thing. It might become a same old thing, but it's a new thing right now. So earlier hours, obviously, if you want earlier hours, that's like a lot of people want earlier hours. It's desirable. I understand. I'm not a morning person, so I wouldn't want them, but that's, me. But it does go to seasoned teachers and it does also have to be those who have great time and attendance who are seasoned teachers. You have to be reliable. If you're a person who's out, now I understand your children might get sick, you might get sick, but if it's something that just really hinders your ability to be there regularly and to be reliable, we probably won't be able to give you those earlier hours because that opening crew, they depend on each other. If you're anyone who shows up before 7:45, you are relied upon because those numbers go up real fast and we can't just call somebody at home, wake them up and they get there 5 minutes later. I mean, even if we call someone to pop in, they probably get there when the rest of the staff is there or at their normal time. So making sure that you are reliable, you're dependable, and you're seasoned, those are the things that come together that get you those early hours. So I know there's been some questions about what does it take. That's literally it. If you come to work and you're dependable and you're a seasoned teacher, and seasoned, we mean like 6 months or longer, not someone who's been with us for years and years, but you really showed us that you are this person who deserves the hours. There have been special exceptions, which I've explained to those who have asked, but sometimes we have people who have very conflicting schedules. They have children who don't attend our school district. They have provisional letters. So they're no good to us at the end of the day if they're provisional because we can't leave them alone. So they always have to be with someone. And once they become qualified, those individuals do pay their due diligence and they do become 9 to 6 people or 8:30 to 5:30 people, and they do what they need to do to be able to become seasoned to get earlier hours. They have to show their dependability. But sometimes we do have to make adjustments because we're not monsters. We do accommodate people's needs. If you have evening classes, we've been able to work that out with some people so that those days, those are their earlier days and they switch with someone who's accepting of switching those schedules. But no one is entitled to their schedule. So I want everyone to be aware of that. It is earned. And if for some reason it becomes abused, then it has to be earned again and they get later hours because we don't want to disrupt the morning flow of our opening crew. And we need people who are going to be there to really support that group in the morning. So I hope with that explanation, it clears up some questions that we have. But if you still have more, feel free to come to us. I'll be happy to sit down with you and go specifically into why you yourself don't have the earlier hours yet, which could be a question. Picture week is November 18th to November 22nd. The schedule is going out soon. We usually do it, it's Monday through Friday. Friday's typically makeup day. What we do is we try to do those itty bitties and we spread them out, one group of itty bitties every day. And then we do the faster pre-K kids afterwards. So the photographers can get through their groups much faster. We are not doing graduation pictures this time. Graduation pictures come in the spring. So if you have the graduating class, you can kind of take a sigh of relief because you don't have to do 2 sets with each kid where they do their nice fall outfit and they just do the fall outfit. When it comes to springtime, it's spring outfit and graduation cap and gown. So that's a little bit more involved and we'll go over that when that time comes. But this picture week goes a little bit faster. If you have parents who are asking, every parent, every family gets a proof. So they get an envelope that goes home and it shows them their child's 4 or 5 pictures. They can go on the Life Touch Shutterfly website and order from there. There's no more mail-in ordering. So they don't have to use the envelope and place an order that way. It's all digital. It's all through the website. But it'll explain it to them. If they have questions, that's the gist of it. If they have deeper, more detailed questions, they can come see us and we'd be happy to help them. Oops. Whoa. All right. We want to welcome to Sneed's Ferry Quality and Holly Ridge Quality. Please tell me if I missed somebody. Okay, I've been a little scatterbrained lately. We have Miss Terry. She is currently our Choose Flex teacher, but she's just getting used to the environment. We're going to see where she fits best, and it seems like she's doing extremely well in that environment. So thank you to Miss Terry for joining us. We have Miss Callie. She is a, nope, that's not high school apprentice at all. Miss Callie is not a high school apprentice. Miss Callie is a teacher. I don't know why I put that, sorry. And she has been kind of going back between Holly Ridge and Sneads Ferry Quality. And currently, she's been spending her week this week at Holly Ridge Quality, seeing where she fits best. And then she'll be working as a flex teacher and probably eventually joining classrooms just like everyone does. Amanda B has joined us. She's a co-teacher in room 4 with Miss Cheyenne currently. They're doing extremely well together. So welcome, Miss Amanda. I know I missed some people. Oh, who did I miss? I'm going to remember on the next slide. So forgive me. Anyway, more staff are beginning soon. So you will see some new faces. I greatly appreciate those of you who welcome them with open arms. You guide them to understand what's expected. Sanitation and different things that are state requirements are first and foremost, making sure they understand what we need to do to maintain compliance and then what's best practice. Teaching it at the same time requires some skill, but if you can do that, that's extra helpful. Thank you so much. Miss Ruby does do her orientation. Now that she's back, she's going to make sure those people that slip through my fingers are orientated well, but making sure that you know that soap goes on the table first. Standing sits for 2 minutes, the diaper changing procedure, the hand washing procedure. These are things that should come naturally to those who are with us, who have been with us. But if you're new, this is something you should be focusing on because those have to become innate. They have to become automatic because when state comes in or inspector comes in, you're gonna be flustered. You're gonna be nervous. It's only natural. I'm nervous. They give me heart attacks every time they come through the door. So if you're not someone who's in practice of these things every day and you kind of just flub through it, it's not gonna be well. It's not gonna do well at all. Oh, maybe Miss Megan Hernandez. If I did not introduce you last month, Miss Megan Hernandez has been with us. She's been working with the toddlers and the infants, and she's been doing a fantastic job in those groups as well. But I know someone's going to catch me on who it was. My apologies. Everyone else and new hires, these are reminders for everyone. I have noticed there's a couple cars in that front row. And if you come to work late like me, because I have a problem, but if you come around 9:30, I understand that parking in the front is not as much of a hindrance. I got it. I'm usually unloading furniture or weird stuff that I bring or things that I have to take to Holly Ridge. But if you are bringing yourself and your children to school, please go to the front row like a parent would, drop your child off at their classroom, go back in your car and move your vehicle. Please do not park in that front row for the duration of the day because you're not going to go home till after these parents are picking up and your car's been in the way the whole day. I understand maybe at lunch you're going to move it, but just treat it as you were a parent on their normal commute and you had to drop your kid off at childcare. So you park, you bring your children to their class, you sign your kids in if you so wish. You go back in your car and you go park. You can park at our second building's lot or between us and the second building, there's that strip of parking, but don't park at the house of breakfast. They don't like us. I don't know what it is. It's like this feud that I don't understand, but please don't park at the house of breakfast. They have threatened to tow our teachers. So just please make sure. The same thing with pickup. You come, you go get your car, you come bring your car over to the front row, you get your kids and you go home. Just like if you were bringing them to a different school every day. So just think of it that way. You're dropping your kids off at care and then you're going to work. Please make sure you do that. In addition, please don't clock in until you are prepared to be with students. We've had some people who clock in, then drop their kids, then go to the bathroom, then go to where they need to be. That's not how it works. You do all the things you need to do as a parent or an individual first, then you clock in for the day. If you happen to be late that day, then you're late that day. But it is just like any other job, pretending that you're bringing your kids to childcare and then you're going to work. And I really need people to make sure they're paying attention and they're being intentional with what they're doing every day. Because we've noticed it a lot. And Joyce has been seeing the schedule, but conflicting video when we watch the video that that person really wasn't in the classroom or working with children and they had been clocked in for like 10 minutes already, 15 minutes. that adds up every single day throughout the pay week. So please be attentive. Okay. Always ask questions. If you're a flex teacher, especially if you're not sure about something and you have yet to be taught how to write an incident report, you've been yet to been taught to do meal program sheets, ask. The teachers of the classroom will help guide you. That's what they're there for, and they're very supportive with all of these things. So please take advantage of them. All right, reminders, lesson plans. Make sure your lesson plans are posted on the wall by Friday evening, making sure that Monday morning, whoever comes into your room is ready to roll with that lesson plan. If it's not signed yet, then you can definitely call admin to come and sign it for you, and then we can take care of that. Menus and schedules. Menus should be in your mailboxes by Thursday or Friday, and those get posted by Monday morning. And then your schedule should always be the same unless you're a person who does seasonal schedules. Whiteboards are always up to count, and you should know your count. If I enter your room and say how many kids, you should know how many kids, just like that, because that should be automatic. Check and empty your mailboxes daily. There's still some stuff in there from a couple weeks ago in some people's mailboxes, so please make sure you empty them out. Charge your tablets every evening so you are ready to use them to communicate with parents. Complete items on the nap time list each day. If you're missing that nap time checklist, please let admin know. We'll print you a new copy and you can pop it right on the closet door. So you are making sure you guys are paying attention and completing the items from the nap time checklist. Because there's some things you can't do with children every day on that list, like cleaning out the cubby bins. Sometimes they get real gross. These kids bring in yucky stuff, and we haven't had little critters in a very long time because people are attentive. So don't lose that. Make sure you're cleaning out your cubby spaces, you're restocking, anything you need to do at the nap time checklist. There's a lot of good ideas in there. Purses and phones should be locked in the closet. Phones and smartwatches should not interfere when you're supervising with children. It's real easy to start looking at a text message, but that means you're focused here and not focused there on the children in front of you. So if smartwatches become something that's hindering you from doing your job, then you might need to keep them at home. Supply list should be turned in every Wednesday. Miss Brittany is back. So your supply list should have been turned into that nice fancy plastic bag today. But if you forgot, please make sure it's in there tomorrow. She's going to start filling those supply list requests, and then she can tell me what to order, hopefully ahead of time and in time for your lesson. Reimbursements, don't go on a shopping spree. Ask before you buy, and I probably have it in stock. We have a lot of stuff, so don't buy until you ask. Okay. Coming back from lunch on time, making sure that we don't restrain children. I know we want to protect them. So part of our motherly instinct or parental instinct is to protect that child, and we want to pick them up. But if that kid is flailing, kicking, screaming, slapping, you're getting whacked. It's just inevitable. So you keep that child, you move the items away from that child, you move the other children away. You want to go outside, call for admin assistance. You can say admin assistance in room, whatever. We come hustling down. And then we either take the kids out with us so you can build that relationship with the child who's in distress, or we take over with the child in distress, which I don't typically recommend, but I understand if we've already reached our point up here, we need a little break. I get that. And then we work with that child, or you work with that child, and everybody else is safe. Then we get parents involved, because when we have instances like this, it really needs a village. So we need parents on our side, we need admin on your side, and we need to really sit down and talk about what are the next steps to make sure that this is not happening again, or at least we can decrease the amount of episodes that we have. End of the day, please make sure those heinies are clean and dry before they leave you. If you are a lead teacher or co-teacher, most of you typically leave by 4:30. Oh, yes. Thank you, Miss Ruby. Miss Ruby says that we've walked in on 2 teachers on phone calls. You picked up the phone and you called or talked to somebody in the classroom. Man, if I caught you, that would help. So cell phone usage will become a write-up, because oh man, I'm so glad she told me that. If you are on the cell phone, if you are using your phone, we're gonna have to write you up, because I don't know how many times we gotta say this. If you have someone who needs to call you today. You have an emergency. Oh, my doctor's going to call me. Give them our number. Otherwise, you do have to wait until a break. Or you can say, admin, I need coverage in room blank. They were supposed to call me at 11. It's 11:05. I want to make sure I don't miss them before that whole doctor's office goes to lunch. I know how it works around here. People go like, all go to lunch at the same time. It's so crazy. But just tell us, avoid the write-up, avoid the violation, and tell us if you need to make an important phone call that day. We are there to support you. But if you don't say it, and then you pull out that cell phone and you make a phone call or answer a phone call, that's it. Oh my gracious. Okay.
Shannon, another thing there, we have done a lot of noticing a lot of teachers, especially outside in the playground, who are just sitting around, not interacting and not doing anything with children. You have to be more than a presence wherever you are, but especially on the playground. When a child gets hurt, you guys are asking for ice all the time. We have to go get ice. Very often, we have to pull up a video to find out what happened, to explain to a parent or whatever the case may be. We see people just sitting there. That's going to be a problem.
That's a huge problem. Because in all honesty, and I've said this before, but I haven't said it recently, but if I wanted to hire babysitters, I mean, we'd pay them what, like $10 an hour to just sit and kind of make sure kids are okay? You guys are educators. You should be engaging with them. And the more you engage with these students, the less likely there's an incident. You're teaching them teamwork, cooperation, problem solving. That's what early childhood is all about. Take advantage of being outside and teaching them. They have a conflict because both of them want one of those cars to drive. They both can't drive at the same time. So, how are they going to learn to be able to solve the problem in a cooperative manner? One kid's not going to be happy. Maybe both kids aren't going to be happy, but at least they understand that the expectation is that either no one's going to get this car or we're going to work together to make sure we figure out how we're going to take turns and problem solve together. That's a whole lesson right there. So if you're not involved, like Miss Joyce said, there's incidents up the wazoo. We got ice running out in the kitchen because they're not being well supervised. And supervised does not just mean standing there on the side of the fence. So please make sure you're engaging with your students. Yeah, I should have done a mini training on that. All right, here we go. End of the day, clean the playgrounds. Please make sure there is no cups and tissues and boogie things all over the place and wipes everywhere. So free of trash. Toys are put away. Teach your students to clean up. At the end of the day, I know sometimes there's like a handful of children left. They're probably the same handful of children you have every day at closing. It doesn't usually change too much. So those darlings know that they are responsible for the last playground. You can make it a game, you can make it some kind of competition with each other, but making sure that that playground is cleaned and all the other ones, as they're getting closed down, should be made sure that they're cleaned as well. That those toy bins are closed, because once they're open and rain comes down, then you got a toy bin filled with water that gets yucky mildew in it, and it's just gross. Trash bags and trash bins. So those trash bins outside, some of them need replacing. So if yours needs replacing, please let me know. But there's always a bag in there. When I come in early in the morning, not early, when I come in at 9:30 and I go out to a playground and I see yesterday's afternoon items in there, I know that bag was not taken out. So please make sure when you're closing a classroom, you take the bag with you, because you're also taking the rest of the classroom trash, hypothetically, into the dumpster. So please make sure you do that. Broken toys should not be on the playground. So if you see a broken toy, put it outside the fenced area. Tell me, tell Mr. John, and we'll make sure that it is fixed or it is tossed. Supervision. Please make sure you are always with your children, engaging with your children. If you're a person who likes to hang out the door halfway through the hallway, halfway in the classroom, close your door. Don't get inclined to do so, because then you're just losing your supervision of your students and something's gonna happen. Something's gonna biting, non-injury reports, incident reports, ABC charts, those are all legal documents. So please use blue or black ink, making sure that if you have yet to do one of that kind, ask. Ask. A kid got hurt. Can I watch you or can I try to write the incident report and you help me? That's where we're learning. That's where all of our new teachers should be integrating into the classroom and getting to know these processes. If you're a seasoned teacher and you have someone who's quite new with you, hey, have you written an incident report before? You give it a try, I'll check it over. And if you're a high school apprentice, obviously you are still learning. So that's the only restriction. High school apprentices are not writing incident reports or anything that's a legal document. However, they can hover over you while you write one and learn how to do it. But we don't want to hold them responsible for the person who wrote the incident report because when parents have questions, we want to make sure it is a teacher who is 18 and older that handled the report and the incident itself. Ms. Ruby said, don't send children to the bathroom when you stand in the door, please. Oh, gosh. Oh, gosh. So this was a big problem. There was a school in Wilmington, and the teacher straddled herself between the playground and the classroom where there was a bathroom. And she sent children to go potty, and she was supervising the kids outside. No, do not do that. Because as soon as something happens out there, you can't leave that door. As soon as a kid in the potty, I peed in my pants. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? They decide they're going to walk out the door because they heard something fun in the hallway. What are you going to do? If you need help, call for admin. If you have a provisional person with you and you're trying to really I don't want to bother admin, please, because I don't want that situation to happen to you. And then you didn't know what to do, or you did what you thought was the best choice, and then we're all screwed. So please don't do that. Make sure you call for admin. We will help you, or that kid's just gonna have to pee their pants. I don't know, but you're gonna have to make sure you call for admin because I don't want a situation where I can't defend you because we said what was expected. What's expected is if you have kids who need to go potty, you need something and you gotta straddle the door, don't straddle the door. Call for admin assistance to whatever playground, we come help you. Okay. Also, hopefully it's not a kid peeing their pants. It's like, oh, we need paper towels or something, but you never know. Oh, goodness, so many things, so many things. So these are the admin roles. We've gone over these a bunch of times, but I want to make sure now that Miss Ruby's back, those things are at Miss Ruby. I no longer am going to mess up. So they are Miss Ruby jobs again, just so everybody knows. Okay. Pyramid model.
Sharon,
This
one
is
more
my
thing.
go.
I'm sorry. If you're in a classroom where you can't bring a child in and admin's not coming right away, you can also possibly send them to a different classroom that might have the teacher inside. For example, if all the kids in fours are outside, you don't have an extra person, then you can send one over to threes because they may have somebody inside.
Very true. So weighing your options, just like Miss Joyce said, you're on the 4-year-old playground. A 3-year-old on your playground can go to the threes playground. If they have no twos, you can send one of your two. If you have a 2-year-old, you can send a 2-year-old. If they have no twos, you can send a 4-year-old over. So you just have to make sure the age groups are no more than 2 years. 2 years. Okay. Pyramid model. This is what I wanted to talk about today. We got some time, but I'm going to kind of speedy through it. So if you want to come back and do the things that I'm not covering right now more in depth, please come back because it's a very helpful model. There's so many free resources, and I really wanted to share it with you today because we have quite a few classrooms that have very significant behavior issues. And I want to make sure that you have more tools for your tool belt, but I can't just make it magically happen for you. I can't solve all the problems. You, as the educator, have to do the work and learn more about the program. Do you think that'll fit the child? Try it with the child. Don't try it one day and say, didn't work. We have to give it some time. We have to be consistent and persistent in the way we develop and deliver what we're intending to do. We have to be very intentional. All right, here we go. So the pyramid model, I'm going to show you this quick video. It goes over the concepts of it so that we can kind of go more in depth right afterwards. Here we go. Give me a big no if you can't hear it, okay? Because I think you can hear it.
Tier one is broken down into a couple of pieces. The first basic, most piece is the building relationship piece. And this is the biggest part of the pyramid in itself. Sets the foundation, being able to understand the things that we do that take away from kids emotional readiness for building a relationship. And we call this their emotional bank. And we think of this as a piggy bank account or a bank account. And the things that we do that take away from their emotional bank, like telling them, no, don't stop, or using negative language and not stating things in a positive way. We've come to understand it's not a one-to-one correspondence as far as this bank account. We know that it's a 5-to-1 ratio, 5 deposits that needs to go into their emotional bank for every one of those withdrawals. And so what we need to do as educators, as adults, is get better at making deposits into their emotional banks. Deposits are simple little things that we can do on a daily basis. One, and the biggest thing that I think we forget to do, just smile and be excited that they're there in our environment that day. To look at them, and I know it's hard to do this when we have little ones with challenging behaviors or that might push our buttons, that we look at them and say, we are excited that you're here because not only do I get to teach you, but you get to teach me. You get to teach me skills about how to interact with people, how to interact and modify curriculum, and it challenges me to be a better teacher just to have you around in our environment. So deposits, body language, smiling at our students, generally feeling excitement that they're there, getting down on their level, talking to them in a soft, nice tone of voice, not yelling across the room, those kind of things. So that's a start. Other things that we can do are deposits, commenting on what they're doing, specific praise. And what we mean by that is not saying just good job, but we're saying good job keeping your hands to yourself. Good job sitting at the table and writing with that marker and things like that. So being very specific about the praise that we're giving. What a withdrawal is that language that we use in our environments as well. We start with trying to eliminate no, don't stop. Saying those words are words that start making withdrawals within a child's emotional bank. But there's also other big withdrawals that we do on a daily basis that we don't ever think are withdrawals, such as just giving simple directives inside of our classroom. Something like saying, come over here to large group and have a seat. That's a withdrawal from their emotional bank. And we have to understand those directives that we give on a daily basis that are part of our routine, part of our classroom structure, things that we have to do are still withdrawals from their emotional bank and are going to need deposits in order to repair that relationship. We take too many withdrawals from our students, then what happens is that they're left with nothing in their bank and they end up shutting down. And that's why they don't want to follow our directions, why they don't want to follow classroom routines, why they have a difficult time being kind and friendly to their peers. It's because they're empty in their emotional bank, and the self-worth, the confidence that they have in themselves, the willingness to participate with their peers and interact with their peers is basically gone. Their emotional bank is with them all the time. And so it's not just within our school environment that they get withdrawals from their emotional bank. They're leaving to come to school with their mom, and their mom's in a hurry, and she's saying, put on your shoes, eat your breakfast, put on your seatbelt, we gotta go. Those are all withdrawals as well from their emotional bank. And a lot of our kids are coming to us already empty, and it's important for us to understand that so when they walk in the door, we're ready to start repairing or making deposits into that emotional bank.
All right.
Okay. That was a very big, broad overview of a short video, but I wanted to make sure you understood where the basis of the pyramid model comes from, because there are so many kids nowadays who come to us and they are just extremely defiant, or they've never been taught what is expected. And then it's our job to do that. But then, like they said, you're withdrawing from them every time we make a statement of what's expected throughout the day. We sit at circle time. We keep our hands at our side. We wash our hands after outdoor play. So these are all things that we didn't give them those two positive choices on. So one easy way to do that is to kind of build them back up and give them that confidence is, we've already said this before, but it comes into play, giving them two choices you would say yes to. So very easy. You can do this or you can do that. You gave them the power. And that's a lot to a kid who has been kind of like taken from all day. You gave them power. You gave them the power to choose between two different choices. You would have said yes to, they don't know that, but you're going to say yes to what they choose. Now, when you encounter children like this, it takes a long time for you to wait it out. You know, sometimes they're more stubborn than we are, but we have to be persistent. So you give them the two choices. If they still say no, give them the two choices again in that even tone, our big voice. We say what we mean. My shirt, whatever color shirt I got on today, white shirt. My shirt is white. My hair is brown. So in that tone, I'm just stating what their two choices are. And I may need to repeat myself quite a few times. I may need my co-teacher to work with the rest of the class while I'm building this relationship with this one child. And it's going to seem like an agonizing process. But in the end, it is worth it because you're building that relationship with them. They're developing trust in what you do and what you say. If you are true to your word with them and you give them those powerful choices, just those two, you don't have to go to three. They learn to trust you and they learn to lean on you, and then you're kind of like that parent figure in their life. I mean, think about it. You're with these kids 10 hours a day. You're guiding them, you're helping them grow into little productive citizens. And without your guidance and your expectations and structure in the classroom, they will be feral children. So we need to make sure that we're bringing that back into the classroom. And as painful as it is every day, as much as you're worn out at the end of the day, every new day is a clean slate, and that kid is looking for that support for you to make those deposits and praise. I love how you used red and blue on your paper. Those are two of my favorite colors. What are your favorite colors? Bam, you opened up the door for them to have a conversation with you. You gave them positive praise, and you filled, like they said, filling that bank. These are some nurturing and responsive relationships on the next slide. I wanted to show you that you're teaching that your students can care for one another, consoling a student who's upset. Oh, Mikey looks like he's having a really difficult morning. Would you like to go and comfort Mikey? Mikey, do you want comfort or do you need space? And I hear Miss Karen say this very often in her room, but for our preschoolers, they start to really understand comfort and space. And they can make that choice for themselves. And if they need some more time, they go to cozy or they go to their favorite center. And then after time, we can bring that child back who wanted to provide the comfort. Or maybe you, as the teacher, you're going to bring that comfort to them. And they're building that relationship and that trust in the classroom. They need their person. They need someone who they can go to. And the more people they have in their classroom, their peers and the adults, they're going to feel more comfortable and safe. So we're kind of building those blocks of who can I trust and where can I go to when I feel in distress. They had a rough morning. That kid came in, they were rushed, they were crying. Mommy told me I couldn't wear my blue shoes. I wanted to wear and then I wanted to wear my red shoes, but I had to wear these shoes. Just any little thing, set it off. And then they come to school and they're already at that high emotional state. They've, like they said, had an empty bank. They came empty to you. You're building them back up. And it may seem tedious to you as the teacher, hopefully not, but I understand if you're dealing with a child day in and day out and they're just wearing at you, they're picking at you piece by piece, 2 weeks after they start with you, you might feel worn out. And that's a time when you can come to us and we're going to try to build you back up. I'm going to try to give you those strategies. I can be that fly on the wall that watches. Okay, well, when you had this interaction with them, these are some things you could have done differently. Because in the moment, we don't see what others may see as a third party. And that's why when I was teaching, just setting up my cell phone and recording myself in action throughout the day, I learned a lot. I reflected on, oh, whoa, that's ugly. And then I would go back. If I had that situation again, I knew exactly how I should have handled it so that it would have been a productive moment with that child. And it takes a lot. I understand that. And that's why your admin is here to support you through it. Let's move on. So greetings. This is just a little poster that they have on the website. I'm going to show you in a little bit. And this poster has some great greetings, some things that we haven't thought of, and you can post it right inside the door of your classroom or right outside the door of your classroom. And you're giving the child the choices on how to greet you and the children in the classroom. Just make it a normal morning routine that they're greeting a peer or an adult in a positive way. They kind of like set it off in a good way versus whatever just happened outside the doors of our school. Neutralizing behaviors. I wanted to go more in depth with this, but I'm going to skip this part. So if you want to come back, obviously you get the PowerPoint and you can come back to it. But this is neutralizing an unwanted behavior and how you can support the child with different strategies. So it's kind of like reflecting on ourselves type deal. And then how can we be productive? Okay, moving on. So these are very nice, short and sweet ways to remember what to do in a situation where we're getting frustrated as the educator or the adult in the room. Pause, ask, and respond. PAR. So pause and reflect. Take a deep breath, like we say with conscious discipline. Do your star breathing, whatever you need to do. Center yourself, because if you're going to start off up here, it's not going to end well. So take your deep breath. This kid has been pushing your buttons all day. You got to take that deep breath. Just take a second. Everything else will still happen, I promise, but take your deep breath. And then think about what just happened before the behavior occurred. So this kid, Mikey, whacked another kid. What happened before he whacked that kid? Did he get the block taken from him? Did he not get to go do the thing that he wanted to do with someone in his space? Or is he just in a crabby mood today? But really think about what was that antecedent before the behavior, because then you're going to be able to support what to do next time they face that antecedent, that before. And then the behavior can change. So you got to do your homework. You got to be supervising and observant of your students. And that's what we mean. If you're engaged with them, you saw what just happened because you were doing blocks with them. You saw the moment. What happened before the behavior? Ask yourself, what's this child trying to tell me? They're crying, they're not really making any sense, but it could have all stemmed because they didn't get to stand in the spot they wanted to in line. And after you get to what really is the core issue, you can support them. Next time, what can we say to our friend so we make sure they don't cut in front of us? And then they use their big voice. They have to feel empowered. Because a lot of these kids come to us and they just don't have any power at home. So they're coming defeated. They're already on the defense. We kind of have to build them up and show them there's another way to go about this. Do they want something? Do they need something? What do I know about this child that will help me figure out the reason for the behavior? That's why building those relationships are so important. Talking to the parents, getting to know your kids, just have a conversation. What did you eat for dinner last night? What did you guys do at home? Getting to know what their normal everyday routines look like at home will help you build that relationship and understand where you can go with them next. What drives the kid? Are they Spider-Man fans? That's something you can bring in. Respond. When I respond, I ensure the child feels validated. I listen to them. We like to multitask as adults. I do it all the time. But if a child is trying to tell me something, I am down on their level and we are listening. Even if it takes them 30 seconds to get it out, we're going to either guide them through the conversation and listen. So you can help them along. Oh, and this is what happened and that, and then you get to the final answer. But turning and pretending you're listening to them or you kind of are listening to them, that's not showing them the respect that they deserve as a little person in the room because you want them to show respect to others. So we kind of have to dish it out to those kids. And I know it's going to be tedious. I got it, but it definitely builds that relationship and that trust. Miss Shannon listens to me. And then they're going to come to Miss Shannon the next time they want to tell her something or they need help with something because they trust. And guide the child to use an appropriate alternative behavior. That's a huge deal. We can't just say, like they said in the video, don't stop, no, this. Don't run. We have to show them what is acceptable. Give them those two positive choices. You can tiptoe in the classroom or you can march. What's your choice? Because if we run, we could get hurt. I mean, giving them that understanding of what might happen, maybe that's enough for some kids. But giving them those two positive choices in addition to that, that allows them to at least have the power to choose. But also when you give them that explanation, if we run, you could fall right into that shelf and bump your brains. And then you're going to have a big bump and you can't play anymore today in this space because you weren't being safe. No, not that drastic, but still, I'd say that to Mikey because he's crazy. But other kids, oh, you bumped your brains. You're going to have to put ice on. You're going to have to sit out until you feel better. Or you can tiptoe or march, and then you can be safe in the classroom and get where you need to go. And you make it fun learning experience. And then the acronym of TRY, take that deep breath, reflect on your emotions too. Like, how are you feeling? Are they riling you up? Are you about to be up here addressing the situation? Or if you brought yourself back down here and you're ready to deal with the situation in an appropriate manner? And then you've got to know that you got this and you also have our support. We got your back in the classroom because no kid is the same. No situation is the same, and you can have all these tools for your tool belt and still be out of answers. So that's why we try to support you with our extra resources and giving you that extra boost of confidence with we're going to find something that works for this kid. Otherwise, we have your back when we have to address the parents. And unfortunately, sometimes it gets to that point. So this is for you to think about here. We have challenge the original thought and reframe with a new, more objective thought. Choose a thought you have you'd like to challenge and reframe with a new thought. So I'm just going to do these two. There's other ones if you want on the website that I'm going to share with you. But Johnny whines the moment he arrives and continues throughout the day. He doesn't like being here. And we do think that sometimes. He doesn't like school. He doesn't like being here. He whines all day. Oh, it's all day. Instead, reframe it. Johnny must miss his family. It takes time to adjust. And then how can we support Johnny? So if you just flip that mindset a little bit, that's annoying. He's whining all day long. I got it. I know it. But we're going to flip the mindset and we're going to change it to how can we support him so that he feels like he's in a safe space and we can empower him to move through the rest of his day. Because otherwise, our day's going to stink because his day stinks. Sally clings to her parents at drop-off and to certain teachers. She does not seem interested in me. Why is that? Is it because maybe Sally needs to build a relationship with you as the teacher? Does your co-teacher always work with Sally when Sally is in an emotional state? Then maybe you ask your co-teacher, hey, can I take Sally for a week? I got to build this relationship because I know you're getting worn down working with Sally every day, and I want to be able to be someone who Sally trusts. So flipping that around, thinking about what you can do with Sally, maybe playing something that you know she seems to enjoy at center time with her, engaging in conversation. Those are just little things you do that you should be doing every day anyway. You're engaging with students, you're working at centers with them, but now you have a focused goal. So your lesson plan can reflect this. You can put this as an activity that you're working in a small group with specific children to build relationships. Bam, that's all week long because it's something that's meaningful. And that way you're able to go through the rest of your year with these children with their trust. So this is for toddler teachers, things that will help me stay calm. Kids that are toddlers, those toddlers, they always want your attention. They want some kind of attention and they're going to get it in a positive, negative way. Doesn't matter how they're going to get it. So if Adam decides to climb shelving units and then stand on the ledge of the window, we're going to have to work with Adam because he just wants attention. He wants the thrill of the climb. We got to teach him where to climb, how we're going to stay safe. And then he has to know that this is a space where we do climbing where it's acceptable. And then you can climb it on the jungle gym somewhere else and go crazy. So making sure that we set those expectations and that the students know what's expected, but you do it in a way that's more play, that they are enjoying it and they're learning at the same time instead of our feet stay on the floor, but you're saying it to Adam all day long because Adam takes it as, all right, my feet are going to go on the floor later, but right now I'm up on this windowsill and I'm having a great time. So we're going to make it a game that we march on the floor, or maybe we need to crawl over to blocks and build, redirecting those toddlers. That's very useful. Redirecting toddlers is a big deal. And I see you guys do it all the time. Even that first and then component, first we're going to go to blocks, then we're going to build. First, we're going to build in blocks, then we're going to wash hands for lunch. These are the websites that I was talking about that I wanted to share with you. So this is from Connecticut, actually, this first one, but they set it up so nicely that I wanted to share it with you. They used the pyramid model, but they did it in sections with modules. So you're actually learning kind of like a course and you're getting the understanding of what the educational goals are for you as the instructor. This National Center for Pyramid Model Innovations, this is like the big website. This is the national website. So it has all the resources, and to really know how to find them and search for them becomes a little tricky because you don't know the keywords, but you could. There's little sections at the top where you can search specifically for age groups and activity goals, things like that. But some things that I did find on there that you might find useful are Tucker Turtle. There's all the Tucker Turtle stories, all the development of social emotional regulation. Tucker Turtle is a great way to teach children what's expected and how to socially, emotionally regulate themselves in the classroom. And it's nice, short, and sweet. So you can tie it into your whole group or you pull a little small group who really have trouble keeping their hands to themselves. Tucker Turtle story, or you can do your second step. I have second step curriculum for every building. Grab that small group of kids who have trouble with this one area. They really need that as their learning goal. You pull them in, you work with them at small group to learn how to do it. Second step has little puppets, so that might be engaging for some of them. And your co-teacher is monitoring the whole other group at free choice time. Maybe they're doing a big small group on the carpet. Maybe they're doing art with another group, and then that's how you guys flip and rotate in the classroom. But making sure that you really hone in on those students who need that development. What is the expected behavior in the classroom? And they have a bunch of these. So there's modules, which are videos for you to watch. And there's a book nook section. You type in Book Nook, they have a bunch of different books that have to do with mini lessons. So if you tell me what book you need and I don't have it yet, I'll order it and then you can do the mini lesson tied with the book and then we'll keep them together for future use, future teacher social emotional learning. Okay. This is an example of the Book Nook. There's a book called When I Am. I ordered this one book for Holly Ridge. I got it so that they can kind of be my test subjects for this. It has the lesson plan. It has exactly what you should do in your circle time, how to identify the feelings component, and it has sample anchor charts for you to put in your classroom so you can refer back to them after you read When I Am. So it's an English-Spanish integrated book, and you can use it if you'd like. Just tell me and I'll bring it to you in your classroom, and this little lesson plan as well. Talking with families about challenging behaviors, do's and don'ts. I want to hone in on this because we're doing conferences soon. Emphasize that your focus will be help the child development. The skills need to be successful in the classroom. So you're supporting this child develop all their skills. You're going to begin the discussion by expressing concern about the child and wanting the child to feel supported in the classroom. Now, we always do the sandwich technique. Give them a highlight, the awesomeness about their kid, something that you really want to support them on, and then you end the conversation with more awesomeness about their kid. So you really have to think of 2 great things about their child. And then you think about all the different things that you want to work on, the support services we have, and the data you have to back that up. You would have taken your anecdotal notes. You would have done your ASQ. And that way you know what specifically you want to work on and what they should work on at home with their child. Let the family know you're here to support them. Do they have an experience similar situations, and are they concerned? Have they seen these things at home? Sometimes parents will say no, sometimes they say yes. So we're working on the same goals together. Or how can they support you at home for something they don't really see at home here in school? And that gets a little trickier. So we can help support you figure that out before you meet with them. And tell them what's happening in the classroom. And this should be an everyday thing where they are aware of what's happening. Now, we're not just going to throw all the negative at these parents every day, but they shouldn't think it's all sunshine, rainbows, and butterflies if their kid is biting every day, whacking other kids, taking toys, screaming, not listening to adults in the classroom. We have to be able to share that, but in a professional way. So if you have trouble sharing that with parents, or you don't really know how to start that conversation each day, please come to us. We will help you. It is a tough road because you'll have parents who are in denial, parents who get defensive. Maybe you'll have parents, hopefully, who are on your side and trying at home to support us. But most of the time, you'll get the first two if it's their first kid. So just keep that in mind. We are here to support you so that you are ready to address this and be ready for any challenges that come your way from the parent, because we need them. We need them on our side. Okay. All these things we've talked about, making sure that you never turn your back to your students. You're always getting down to their level. You're using your big voice, that even tone, stating expectations. We mean what we say and we say what we mean. If you're going to say we clean up our blocks in the bin, then we get to go outside. And the child still hasn't cleaned their blocks. Everyone else gets to go outside. And that child has to be held accountable for not picking the blocks up. Don't you pick those blocks up for them. You can be their teammate and help them pick up the blocks, but they need to understand the weight of their choice, that everyone went outside and they have to finish their task. Because once they get away with it one time, that's it. It's all over. Even our toddlers, making sure that they know this has to happen first, then this. We wash hands, then we have lunch. If they don't wash hands, and they're refusing, they're throwing their body everywhere, we have to wait to have lunch. We wash hands first. It's going to take, you can pick a toddler up and bring them to the sink, but a 4 and 5-year-old, they need to be the ones who bring themselves. And by that point, hopefully they've been with us long enough in school where they have that capability. You don't even encounter that hiccup. You're able to just go through your day, but that's an ideal situation. And we always have new students who join us. Those 2 positive choices, you're going to say yes to them. That gives them the power. And make sure they're de-escalated before you try to reason with the kid, because if they're yelling, screaming, crying, they don't hear you. They don't hear a word you're saying. So please make sure you wait them out. I'll be back when you're ready. When you're nice and quiet and you can hear me, I will help you. I can help you when you're quiet. So Miss Amelia gave us these notes from class. I want to go over them quickly because she did meet with a bunch of teachers. She did a ton of observations and assessments, and I want to make sure I share the valuable information with you guys. So expand your conversations with your students. There were too many closed questions, asking about a color, asking about something that's just a definitive answer. You want to ask your students more open-ended questions. Why? Why do you think that is? What if this happened? How did that happen? What could happen? Or what does this tell you? Just things like that open up the ability for them to answer with more creative responses and for them to really think instead of, closed questions obviously are appropriate in some instances, but getting them to really think, especially when it's a creative time, art, building with blocks, manipulatives, whatever they're creating. Well, what would happen if you put 2 more wings on your plane? I don't know, the kid's going to think of some crazy cool answer that you would have never thought of, and that's the opportunity we want to provide to them. Create visuals with your students, those anchor charts. I know some people like those pre-charts that are pre-made, but making an anchor chart with your students is just so much more valuable because they have that buy-in. They're part of it. So if you're doing apples or pumpkins and you're labeling the different parts, you're doing whatever, butterflies, when we do butterflies in the spring, You can draw it first. Obviously, draw your image if you'd rather do that first. But those labels and that cooperation with your students, that comes in together. And we have those post-it posters, so you can just stick them right up on the wall and they refer back to it throughout the whole time you're working on that. Maybe you keep it up all year because you keep building on that idea. Same with those lingering questions. We always start our themes. So say you're starting your pumpkin theme fall, and they might have, or you start with a question. I wonder what the inside of a pumpkin feels like. You write that question down. Miss Shannon asked that question. What do you wonder? And then they just build on it, and you're writing their questions down with their little names next to their questions. And guess what? After today's learning, after Friday's learning, you're going to write someone else's response. What did the pumpkin feel like to you? And then you're writing their answers. They get the credit next to your question. And then maybe they have more lingering questions, and you're just building on this inquisitive nature of your classroom with minimal effort. You are building up little scientists, and it's so cool to watch it happen. So I encourage you to give it a try. Even 2.5-year-olds and up, and even our 2-year-olds, they can ask very concrete questions. Put them on the board, write them up, give them a little sticker. That's your face, and you ask that question. Now we're going to work to find the answer together, and they will have a blast. Wait times before activities. Sometimes our kids are sitting for far too long not doing something because they're waiting for the other kids who choose not to sit and wait to get to the seat. So making sure that those kids who sat, they're waiting patiently to do art with you. You've explained the whole art activity. They're pumped, but they are following directions. They're sitting and waiting appropriately. Then you got that nonsense crew over there. Now, say, no, I want to do this. The ones who are sitting, they get to do art with me. The ones who are not sitting, you can go do free choice, or you can read books with so-and-so at the carpet, your co-teacher, a flex teacher, whatever the case may be, because we typically have 2 teachers in a classroom. Reward the ones who follow directions. Don't punish them by making them wait for the other kids. Let them have art time. Let them do that fun activity first. They're going to be telling everybody else how cool it was. And then the other ones will understand that's what happens when you don't join us for the activity. You have to wait. You can go do that other thing, but you can't come join us mid-activity. You chose not to sit when we sat, so you have to wait until we're ready to do it again later today. And you can give them a second opportunity. Treat it as a rotation of groups, but they don't really know what's happening. They just know they missed out on that first awesome opportunity that everybody else got to do because they chose to be full of nonsense over here. So I'd encourage you to try that instead of making those kids who follow directions wait. They're being punished. They're missing out when they did exactly what they should have done in the first place. Okay. And then reword your question. Is the cow big or small? So you're giving them a closed answer. You're literally giving them this or that, A or B. But instead, tell me about the cow, and you will find out amazing things. Maybe they don't know much about cows. That's when we're teaching them about that creature. But you might have one little genius who knows everything about cow udders and milk and all these wonderful things. But you would have never known that if we kept it closed. So asking those more open-ended questions. All shelves should be exposed at all times. Please stop turning your shelves so that the kids can't access them. Turn them out. We have to teach them how to use those items. If you know you have kids who are dumping bins every day at a certain time, those are the ones you're honing in on in the morning to teach them what's expected. And we just teach them and we just teach them repetitively because that's what's expected. They have to be able to be in a room with many options and manage what they're doing. One bin, come to the table, use that activity, put it away, put the bin away. I mean, it is an expectation, so we have to teach it to them. Limit the number of children at each center. That's an idea. You have those center signs. Every kid has their face on a laminated thing and they Velcro their face. Oh, we have too many friends at manipulatives. Where else would you like to go? Take your face where there's an empty space. Oh, art has an empty space. Now you can go to art. And managing your children that way so that they understand during free choice doesn't mean free for all choice. It is still structured and there's still expectations at that time. If you have 12 kids, there are 12 chairs out. Please don't put one chair or put all chairs away and you got kids who are forced to stand. They have to. It is a state requirement to have the number of children and chairs out in the room. As they go home, yes, stack a chair. Every time you lose a kid, it's a great way to keep count. But making sure that you have that number of chairs for the children in the room. And then observations and assessments, November 8th. That is the last day you should be conducting ASQs and observations. If you haven't started assessments yet, tell us. We will try our best to get you coverage so you can pull kids out and do those ASQs, or you can ask them questions to really get understandings about where they are developmentally. Conferences are going to start November 11th. So if you need us to meet with you and parents, tell us ahead of time. We have to plan that out. We have to make sure that admin is free and we can sit and really be invested in the conversation versus, oh, I only have 10 minutes because I didn't know about this ahead of time. So I want to make sure that we're prepared, you're prepared, and the parents are well aware of when this meeting's supposed to happen. If you need admin in attendance. If it's just a regular conference, it's all on the phone. So phone conference, if they take you up on the offer, that's what we do for our conferences because we're very different than a normal school system. We only have certain periods of time in the day. So phone conferences are the way to go. Okay, we have our trunk or treat. We have more than 30 vendors, pony rides, petting zoo, food trucks, trunks and tables, 2 bounce houses and slides, photo ops, fire truck, and police cruisers. This is on Saturday, the October 26th from 1 to 4. Setup begins at 11. I really, really hope I see you all there. I understand if you have prior obligations, but even just for setup or just for cleanup, that's extremely helpful because this event brings in over 400 children. So think about 400 children and their families. It is huge. I'm so excited. Without Miss Rachel, without Miss Stephanie, without Miss Barbie, I wouldn't have had this event. So I really thank those of you who contributed, those who made posters today and signs. I greatly appreciate you. Those of you who are showing up with your trunks and tables. It's going to make the event. So thank you. All right. This is another website. I gave you my username and password. Use it. It is a resource for you to have different things in your room that will support your circle time, small group, and visual resources. Miss Chantel gave us Cox Campus. It's free. There are free classes. You just kind of put in keywords of things that you want to grow in, what PD goals you might have, and there you are, a whole course that's free. And there's videos showing you things that happen in the classroom. They've videotaped real classrooms. It's so helpful because you don't really get to see that often. Your trainings that must get done. Now that Miss Ruby's back, she's going to hunt you down. So make sure you're doing your trainings. And if you have questions or comments, please, if you have anything that's bugging you, you have questions, come see us. Because Joyce always says, oh, Ruby said, can mentors turn in their checklist tomorrow? Anyone interested in the program needs to go to school. Yes. If you're interested in being an apprentice, you must agree to go to school. And our mentors, please bring in your checklist about your apprentices tomorrow. So like I was saying, what Miss Joyce always says, if we don't know there's an issue, we cannot help you through it. We try our very best to resolve problems. And sometimes you're not totally happy with it, but we did what we could so that we could support you. But if you don't tell us, we never can get there. So please make sure you come to us, message us, whatever. I mean, I'm up at weird times during the night. So message me on Facebook Messenger and I will let you know what we can do to support you or pull you in the next day to talk to you. Just don't message Miss Joyce because she's busy. She's sleeping. All right. Anybody have questions or comments? All right. If you do, again, message us, come see us in the office. I greatly appreciate those who watched the training and the videos today. And I'll have our raffle winners in a little bit. Thank you. Have a great night, everybody.